Thomas Brown, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Hey, I really appreciate you coming on with me and talking with me about this Quad Cross of Nations race. It's got to bring back some fond memories for you because you were there.
Yeah, I got to go over three times. I was pumped to go all three, but this track that they went to this year in Italy it is an awesome track. Like just in general, it was fun. And actually looking back at it, I think my nerves didn't let me have as much fun as I would have liked to have there because man, that track it was fun. It's a good layout. It's like on the side of this mountain. It's just you're at the top of the mountain actually, and it just overlooks this valley. And then the track itself has tons of elevation in it, and it is a really cool and fun track.
That's awesome. And you guys won. Was that the first time over when you guys won?
Yep, that was our very first time going, so we didn't know we were kind of learning the format as we went. Like we knew the general, we knew the way look on paper this is how it goes, but just seeing how they do their starts compared to how we do ours. Like when the gates drop totally different. Like the action of them isn't like a pipe in the ground like ours. It falls the gate falls towards you, but the way the lever works is different. So like if you watch the pin, there's no pin. Uh, so it was all different. And then like okay, so the I don't even remember how it is, but the 5 second board goes up. So instead of like the side board going sideways, it was super stressful. Like you do practice, and then you go right to your qualifying races. And of course, I was the first qualifying race that year, and first one to line up on a gate behind it. And it was like, all right, well, let's see how it goes. We had no clue. And, we weren't even sure, we didn't know what the competition was going to be like or, who was who for that matter. And we knew who we thought we'd be racing, but man, it's a totally different event. And like I said, the nerves definitely got the better of me there to not let me enjoy it as much as I could. Said and done, one of my favorite races of all time. But looking back at it, I wish I just could go ride that track again.
So when you're sitting in front of the TV watching it on Sunday morning, what was going through your mind? Did you get any butterflies sitting there getting ready for the gate to drop?
Nah, I would say no more butterflies. Nothing like that. I'm pumped to watch it. I've probably never cheered for some of the guys I compete against so much, man. Like just fully support them. When you go over there for a team, same when we were racing. I raced Chad and Joel all year, and then even Jeffrey the one year. And when we go over there, we're a team. But man, I put my support behind those three guys, and that's just me being a fan and cheering them on. But man, I just couldn't. It's that Team USA pride. It's hard to not let it run out. And got up at 5 o'clock on a morning. I didn't have to get up at 5 to just watch it, and it was truly it's a truly cool event.
Yes, it is. I'm a huge patriot and love the Team USA concept and everything, and I love watching. I got it on our side. I mean, the first race started roughly at 2 a.m. And I
Oh,
was up at 1. Getting it all ready, trying to make sure it was right, and I still missed the bad start on the first moto. You know, so I
yeah,
always wondered why they had to come through the field.
me too. I got on and all of a sudden like I set my alarm and then got up and I might have hit snooze once. I'm not gonna lie, and then got up and started watching and I'm like, all right, Bryce was sitting like fourth and Joel was sitting ninth and I'm watching it. I'm like, Joel's still in ninth. Like it's like he was stuck there or something. I'm like, he has to have a bike problem. He has to be going backwards, not be going forward, for him to not be moving through people. And then Bryce was kind of pressuring people, but I was like, man, like to me, they're 5 minutes into this race, and I'm like, where did they come from? Like, it did not make sense. So I text Danica, and she's like, bad start, and then she told me where they were then, which I was seeing live on the deal. Luckily, she kind of updated me that they had a bad start and they were coming through, and then all of a sudden it started clicking off. Like Bryce got into the first, and then Joel caught that lead pack and just started making good moves. And it sounded like they just kind of had to find their groove at the beginning of the race and let everybody kind of fall in and start making their passes. But they all put a show on. That first moto, it was probably the most interesting one because they had to work so hard for it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I really thought that Bryce was going to stretch that lead before Joel got there, and maybe give Joel a challenge to run that down. And then he made a mistake when Joel got close, and Joel passed him and just drove away. But Bryce finished right behind him.
Yeah, no, they had a good moto. Joel, we all know Joel's speed, and Bryce rode awesome. And luckily he's second time over there now, so I'm sure his nerves were a lot calmed down. But it's every time I went over, it was stressful because especially you're in that first moto, you want to make a statement and make a point. But at the same time, everybody's like, hey, like we've got the speed, like we know that we have the speed to go over there and win. So it's like you just got to ride conservative and be smart, but like you want to show off, but it's just like a ongoing battle. At least it was for me. And I kind of thought Bryce was gonna get going, but at the same time, man, like once Bryce got into first, Joel had already gotten to that pack. And I'm gonna say Bryce was maybe in the lead for a lap, if not less, by the time time Joel got into second.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. Bang
So like
bang.
he was riding very well. And like I said, Joel seemed like he stalled out kind of in the back there, and then all of a sudden, once he started making passes, he was making them, a couple of lap at a time. But it was a good race, and I'm sure once Joel got by Bryce, and you could see it too, Bryce they both fell into their groove and they put the gap on the field.
I was talking to Kevin Sarr earlier this year, and he said that one of the things that separates racing in the U.S. from racing in Europe is the aggressiveness. The U.S. riders are so much more aggressive, and it shows because uh, Harry Walker followed Mark forever and didn't
Yeah,
pass, didn't pass, didn't pass. And then the Americans just bang, 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 drove right by everybody and went to the front and didn't wait.
and that's even funny because when I was watching it, I'm like, obviously they knew their speed, they knew they had time, but I'm within there watching it like if they didn't pass them in one corner, I'm like, move them, like push them out of the way. Like you can definitely see that even our guys were not rushing their passes; they were setting their time up. You really saw it with Chad. Like when he would make his pass, he was not taking any risks. Where I feel like if it was towards the end of those motos, or at any point in the U.S. where you're having to get to the front quick, it it would have been a different scenario. But yeah, it's I could see that. I don't remember them not being aggressive, but I definitely don't remember feeling any aggression when we went over there. And I always felt like I was maybe a little bit more on the aggressive side of a rider. So when I was going over there, I wasn't afraid to push on somebody to get where I needed to be.
Right. Did you by chance do any of the see the qualifying at all on Saturday?
Let me think. Yeah, well, yes and no. I was driving during the day, so I had it playing, and I was just listening to the announcing, and had the TV on my phone on the dash, but I couldn't see nothing. But that was a pretty perfect day for them on that. I mean, every moto was perfect, but they seemed pretty smooth on that day.
Is this the first time that they've been perfect?
So I think last year they had a perfect score, and then my final year we finally had a perfect score. But this is the first time they went perfect as far as 1-2 every moto. So they've stepped up the game once again.
Did we qualify fast in all the qualifying races? Did we take all of them in all the years prior?
I believe so. I don't think we ever lost a qualifier. I think we won all. I know Bryce had a good battle last year with horrible with names, but the guy that was in Bryce's class, like in Bryce's motos last year, rode really really well. I think he was probably the fastest European that year, and I know they had a good battle in their qualifier, but I think Bryce ended up getting it, but I'm not 100% on that one. But yeah, that was but majority of the time we won the qualifiers. But yeah, this is the first time that they went 1-1, won all the qualifiers and 1-2 in every moto, because previous years we've had where somebody would break down, we threw a chain, uh or even a mishap somewhere. One moto we had a drop was not a great score. Even the perfect year, my final year in Germany, uh Chad's final moto, him and Joel got hung up in the start, and Chad got back up to fourth or fifth after the crash in the start, and a crash later on the moto. But we ended up dropping that score, so we still came out with a perfect score of 7. It just wasn't. We didn't never had to drop a second before until this year.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, they just did everything perfect. They rode great. You got to take your hat off to Mark Baldwin too for running that thing as many times as he has. Does an outstanding job, laying it all out.
Mark does an absolute great job, and he no credit away from him. Runs a great program there. He makes sure everybody has what they need. It's a lot of behind the scene works on him to get the container ready to go. It's it's a lot of work, but you got to give credit to Harv Whipple too. He's the the unsung hero of the whole thing, because he does a lot of work making sure that everything's happening. He works hand in hand with Baldwin to make sure that all the paperwork gets done. And then when you're over there, he's the one that makes sure everything's smooth. I mean, I would give him the most credit. Mark puts a lot of work in, but Harv's right there with him, and those two are what makes this race happen every year.
Yeah, I didn't mean to leave Harv out. I was going to get to that, but thank you for taking the lead on that. You've got to work with Harv. I've never met him, so you working hand in hand with him probably helps and makes it you even more qualified to talk about it.
Yeah, I got to work with him a lot. I always tried to help out as much as I could. The final couple of years I went over, I was riding for Baldwin, and I always rode for my career. And they're both up there in the same area. So it seemed like right before we would send bikes over, I would end up going up to there. And I would try to help out between, doing my own training and stuff, help Mark out when I could. And, Mark was getting my motors and stuff ready to go. Got to see all the work that went into it. And it is a lot of work, but man, it's a lot of work prepping there. But what they do is once you're there, the work's all done. They make it so when we show up, it is everything so much ahead of time.
Yeah, prepping is key in every form of it. That's awesome. Did you by chance go back and watch the start of the third race by chance?
The third race, yeah, what Joel Holshot and Chad came out fifth or sixth? If I'm not mistaken.
That was the second start, I believe.
No, Joel would have been Moto 1 and Moto 3 because he was running number 1.
Right, and he hole-shotted it and they red flagged it.
Oh, nope, I did not. I missed the red flag. So I caught the first one, but I did not see the red flag race.
Yeah, Chad didn't come out as good in the first one as he did in the second one.
Ah, I got you. So we got a little bit of a break there, huh?
Yes, we did. I mean, Joel didn't seem to think it was a break, but
I'm sure.
He was wanting it to continue because, I mean, I think on the first lap he had 3 seconds already.
Yeah, I mean, Joel knows what he's doing. I mean, he showed it all year. He showed it every year here recently. His whole career, he knows how to get a start and run away. He's great at it. Yeah,
Chad just didn't seem to be able to get around the turn quite as well because he got pinched off. But they were all fighting as hard as they could. It didn't take him much. It didn't take Chad much time though to get into second.
No, I will say though, it seems like the Europeans have really stepped up their game, because in all the previous years, man, it wasn't uncommon for us to somehow come out 1-2, 1-3, or something like that in the starts. And there was quite a few times. I mean, there was more than once or twice that we came out 1-2, even from the second row.
Yeah, I think they have stepped up their game. They're bringing more of our technology over to their side and doing a lot of the stuff. I know from past workings with the company I work for, with some of the product that we send over, and I know that Mark sends stuff over there as well as other guys. So they're bringing our technology into their world. Which is great.
No, most definitely. And this track, I will say this track favored us. It was probably the most similar thing out of the 3 tracks I went to. This was the track most similar to what we race here. The other ones are so deep sand, it's just not what we normally ride. So it was adjustment. We don't even have the tires that they run over there that are same height and stuff. It's honestly a disadvantage because we're running a heavy XC tire, and because their sand is so deep, they have these moto tires that are basically like a moto sand tire, like a lightweight 2-ply, but a 23-inch tall, so they can get through the rut so much better, but not be bogged down with the heavy weight. And they're also getting better ground clearance than we were. So my final 2 years, those sand tracks, man, it wasn't even about going like fast. It was, you had to really make sure you managed than even just pounding out laps.
Yeah, I kind of think that that's awesome. Do you think that the U.S. will be able to keep its dominance in the Quad Cross of Nations for a while longer?
Not to sound rude, but yeah, I think these guys over here are not slowing down any. I think obviously Europeans are getting closer, but man, it's I think as they get closer, we keep pushing. These guys are getting faster and faster every day and working harder and harder. The competitiveness over here is unreal. Chad and Joel's battles up front have been intense, so that both those guys are always pushing to be better than each other. And the group behind them, and with Bryce coming into that group, is starting to run up and trying to run up there with those boys, and he's improving as well. So our level over here is intensifying just as much as theirs is over there. I think we lead the way in it a little bit, kind of give them a roadmap, but I think our boys are still pushing hard. So I don't think it's going to be an uphill battle for them to catch up to the U.S. speed.
You think the training techniques over here are superior? Is that one of the reasons why we're so much stronger?
I honestly, hard to say. I don't know what they're doing over there as far as training. I don't know if they have full-time guys or not. It's kind of weird, as I know very little about that from the riders that I've came over and I've gotten to talk to. Yeah, I mean, this is, those top athletes in the pro class in the U.S. That's a full-time job, and I do not believe that's everywhere else. These other guys are probably having to work something or do something else on the side, not being able to do it as a full-time job, where our guys are day in day out trying to improve themselves and improve their bikes.
Right. I kind of agree to that. I know that Kevin Sarr came over and he was faster because of it, and Harry Walker's been over and raced and he appreciates Dean Dillon from Ireland. He's been over. A few of the other guys have as well, and they do nothing but get better because of spending time in the U.S.
I fully agree with that. I think I've seen it too with some of the Argentina riders. I had Nico Cavi come over for several years and ride with me, and he improved greatly. And he obviously took his speed back there and showed his side of Argentina. And there's plenty of other good riders from Argentina that had improved. But yeah, it's definitely when you get to ride with somebody every day, it definitely makes it easier to increase your speed.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I can tell that you're probably where you need to be, and I want to make sure that I thank you and your lovely wife for allowing me to borrow you for a few minutes to do this race report for the Quad Cross of Nations. Thomas, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and just so you know, you're not forgotten and you're welcome anytime.
I appreciate that. It feels like a lifetime ago now with the whole racing thing, but I don't get to watch many races. There not many are live or nothing like that. So getting to watch this race really brought some back. It was awesome. I'm glad you had me on, but man, I'm super proud of the boys, the whole team for going over there. Obviously the riders were put it all on the line and they did it, man. They made it work. Joel, Bryce, and Chad, man, they put on a heck of a show, and they done something that we hadn't done yet. So even being, like I said, they raised the bar again. I'm super pumped on how they rode and got to watch it. I'm proud to be an American, as always. It was and they did it right. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the whole team. It looked like we had a great group of people. I mean, I don't know if you saw the pictures, but man, the amount of people that took the journey over to Italy, there was a lot of airline miles that people put on this past weekend to go watch them boys tear it up.
I wish I was one of them.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. That is one race that I wish that I would like to go back to. It's there's nothing else like it, and I hope that the team gets to keep going. It's great for ATV racing as a whole. I think it obviously like we've talked about, it improves the European side, but it's great, man. It it was the funnest and most proud races that I did in my career. It was definitely up there. Each and every time I got to go over there and represent, it was an honor. But man, it's an awesome race. I wish and maybe somewhere down the road that event could possibly come to the U.S. so everybody could see how it is. But it's going to take a lot because we're one team going over there where they'd have to bring 12 teams to over here. It's not so budget friendly right now, but maybe one day down the road they can make it happen and get to come see us over here and let all of our fans experience it.
That would be great, and it would be awesome. But again, I'm going to let you go because I know you got things going on. Again, thank you so much, Thomas Brown, for participating in the Quad Cross of Nations race report.